Elsie Fisher, you were a Golden Globe nominee this year for Best Actress. How was it attending the ceremony this past weekend?
It was incredible. I mean, the Globes are, I don't know, such like a cool event. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words a little bit. But I don't know. I feel like that's everyone's dream, regardless if you're in the industry. And yeah, I was just like, I was very happy about some of the wins. Like Olivia Colman winning was like, yes, got it.
Now, the Golden Globes, they don't play clips when they announce the nominees for each category as like at some other award shows. So if they had done that, what would you have liked your clip to be that you feel encapsulates your work from the film Eighth Grade?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of good clips that are used often, like the dinner scene with Kayla and her dad, or like something with Gabe. But I mean, personally, I probably would have picked one of her videos. I don't know, just because I feel like that's definitely the most layered performance, at least because that's me pretending to be Kayla and Kayla pretending to be, her YouTube persona. So that was definitely those were hard to do.
Now, did you prepare a speech in case you had one, and do you care to share any of it?
Oh, I don't know. I was I did prepare something, but I also just got very anxious at the event, and I kind of forgot most of it. But I mean, a lot of it was just like thanking the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which I would still like to do for that nomination because I mean that was pretty dope. And just thanking my parents, thanking Bo. And I don't know. Steve Carell was there, who he was presenting, and he played my father in like my first role ever in Despicable Me. So I want to be like, you gave me my career, bruh.
Now, how has it been kind of navigating award season? It seems like every day for the past month, it's either you or the film or both has been nominated or awarded for something. You notably won the Gotham Award for Best Breakthrough Actor, which was a broadcasted ceremony, and you made a speech. But what's it like when you get nominated by, say, the Austin Film Critics, Columbus Film Critics, Detroit Film Critics for Best Actress? Like, do they email you, or how do you find out about those ones?
I usually find out secondhand, through people, or I get, CC'd on a thread, email terms. Yeah, but I mean, it's always so cool, regardless of how big the events are. Because I mean, it's like I'm being recognized for this project that I just love so much and I put so much heart and work into. So, anyone saying that I did a good job, I really appreciate.
Is there a question that you're tired of answering? I got a kick out of a red carpet interview that you did at the Golden Globes where they asked you if it was your first nomination.
Gosh, I don't know. Um, Maybe I'm just kind of sick of like, how do you relate to Kayla? Because I mean, I don't know. I feel like I answer that all the time, and it's literally just like we're anxious. I mean, there are other things that relate to her, of course, but I feel like the main factor that everyone's kind of looking for is like anxiety. Because I mean, that's what a lot of other people relate to her, with.
It's fun how you just answer that question. I didn't even have to ask it.
Well, no, I'm just used to it at this point. I mean, after doing press for the movie for close to a year, it's all ready to go in here.
Now, you've said that you were a fan of Bo Burnham's comedy before you even did this movie. So, how did you find his work, and what is it about his work that resonates with you?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I found it through a friend who was just she really liked his videos, and I've always been someone who's liked stand up, and I've liked I don't know, music. So I was really intrigued at first, and I remember watching Make Happy and just really resonating. I mean, with like the self awareness of the show, I thought it was very fun and it was very theatrical. And the ending song made me cry for like the first 50 times I watched it. Um, yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's amazing also how Bo is able to do his comedy without being like just blatantly offensive. It's like that's something I appreciate about John Mulaney, for instance, as well. Because I mean, yes, they make fun of themselves and other people, but it's I don't know, they just do it tastefully. I think.
Do you have a favorite bit of Bo's?
Oh God, I mean, I do really like that ending song, but that's not really a bit. But in Make Happy, Straight White Male, I thought that was very funny and like a good way to open up the show.
Now, I feel like eighth grade is quite a departure from, yeah, all that singing and all that kind of stuff. Where did you find his voice in the script?
I don't know. I mean, it was always kind of there from the beginning. I didn't really read the full script until after I had gotten the job. I had only seen little snippets, like the opening of Kayla doing that video was the first audition. Um, but I mean, I got to know him a bit better as a person before I really, read the script. And it just seemed very him the entire time. I really related to him, just from what I knew about him. We both felt anxious and we both, didn't quite know how to describe it. And, this is a movie about the internet and we're both kind of like, how do we feel about the internet? So I saw a lot of myself in him, and then I don't know, I really resonated and saw myself in the script. So I guess it all kind of correlated.
You've talked about how this is a refreshing role for you and about how you'd read other parts that you thought were kind of unrealistic. What was unrealistic about the other parts that you had been reading?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like to pull a line from Bo, it's like they're all written as little poet laureates, but it's like that's just not how kids talk at all. And when the dialogue for characters is so, I don't know, just not realistic to me, it makes it harder for me to really get into the role and take myself seriously because I don't know. It's like it just it's just hard. It's just hard. I have trouble articulating that. Um, but yeah, I mean, even within the dialogue too, I feel like Kayla really showed a depth that I didn't see in a lot of other characters, especially teenage girls. Um, and I mean, I was going out for a lot of teenage girl roles, so I appreciated finally playing a character who I felt was rounded out. I mean, for my entire career, aside from Kayla, I've played like the daughter or something like that. Of course, I was a child for most of my career, but it was still nice to do something different for once.
Now, my sister and my mom, they saw this together. I was there too, but they were so thankful to kind of be sitting with each other as they saw this movie. But that's actually the opposite of what you recommend. You say that you shouldn't see this movie with your parents. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely a movie that parents and kids should see for sure. But I also feel like it tackles a lot of things that are definitely, they hit close to home for kids or, I don't know, people who are teenagers. But there are also some things that resonate a little more with like parents. Also, I keep saying resonate, which is great. But no, I mean, I feel like people connect to very different things in the movie and have different perspectives. But like the tension between Kayla and her dad is very strong, especially at first. And I feel like that can maybe be felt in the theater if you're sitting like right next to your parent. And I think this applies more so if you still are like a kid living in their household. But I think it is a better experience, in my opinion, just generally. If you maybe see it at different times or like sit on opposite ends of the theater and then discuss it afterwards, because I think teenagers go through a lot of stuff and it's hard to articulate to someone you have to look in the eye every day, just because I don't know, it's embarrassing or whatever. But if you can do it through the guise of like, oh, I related to that thing Kayla did, it's a bit easier.
How do you think not having a mother affects Kayla?
Hmm. I mean, I'm not really quite sure. I think part of the beauty of eighth grade is that a lot of Kayla's story is kind of left up to interpretation. Like, yes, her mom isn't really present here, but like, we're not sure of the entire story. But I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of friends who don't have parents around, and I think it's difficult, especially when you're missing a parent of the same gender you are, because there are certain things that you're taught that might be uncomfortable. Just like hygiene things, at least like her dad, telling her to use deodorant might be weird, but it might be better coming from her mom. And just social things too, that are usually, taught by mothers to daughters. But I don't know. I think emotionally she's doing all right. She has a really great dad in the movie. Um, And yeah, it just might be difficult for them to connect. And I think that whatever happened with her mom might have been traumatizing for both of them, but it probably brought both of them together too.
Now, not that it was that long ago, but now that you've seen it and everyone else has seen it, are there any parts of the film that you feel like you wish you had played differently?
I don't know. I mean, I do look back at parts of the film and maybe feel embarrassed, I guess, but it's also hard to tell if that's just because like I'm watching myself on screen or if it's like, because the movie is kind of like it induces cringe. Um, but I mean, if you're asking me honestly, I don't think I would. I'm very proud of this performance, and I feel like if I had gone back to do things differently, it might not have come out the way it did. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I probably wouldn't be able to play Kayla as well right now, being the person I am. So I'm pretty happy with it. I have to say.
Yeah. What's the best interaction that you've had with a fan?
Oh, I mean, it's really hard to choose, but I mean, honestly, just any reaction from someone in my demographic or actual eighth graders, especially, has been the best because I don't know. This was the movie I wanted in eighth grade, and I definitely, put a lot of myself and my own experiences into it. And I felt very alone because, of my anxiety and whatever, being a teenager, when I was in eighth grade. And to see other people really relate to the movie and express like that they saw themselves in Kayla means a lot to me. Because that's exactly what I wanted to have heard when I was in eighth grade and want to hear now.
How much you find you're managing your social media as you're becoming a more public figure?
I think I'm doing fine. I try to just not take it too seriously because I think I used to, but you have a better time if you just chill out a bit. Um, but yeah, I mean, like with stuff with like my Twitter, especially, I think as long as you're just a civil and nice person, you're not gonna have problems. And I mean, I use like my Twitter to just like post funny things I think of, Um, but yeah, I mean, as long as you're a nice person, you really shouldn't have any problems.
Can you tell me about what happened on Twitter with you after the Golden Globes?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a pretty summed up situation. But basically, I tweeted about how I was happy that like Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody won the Globes, and I got a little backlash because I was just not informed on the entire situation. Um, but I mean, I feel like honestly, people are making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be because I don't know. They're like I saw like articles being written on it, which was just so dumb to me. It's like, hey, Flint still doesn't have water, so let's write about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just a situation I wasn't informed on, and now I am. But I mean, I don't know. I just really had an emotional connection to that movie, and I'm such a Queen fan. So it's nice to be able to talk about it in a context that's kind of relevant. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so much corruption in Hollywood, and it's so hard to like really find all of it. But I think that's kind of what's nice about right now, especially, is because a lot of people are being exposed, bad people.
Now, with eighth grade, people are getting to know your face a lot better, but they've been hearing your voice for years through the Me movies, as you mentioned. How did you find that you were affected by, being attached to a movie that had grossed $1 billion and having, one of the most iconic lines of the last 10 years, like "It's so fluffy, I'm going to die." But people didn't necessarily associate your face with it. Did you find that you had a lot of cachet from those performances?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do appreciate like, my biggest or first work being voiceover because that allowed me to kind of reinvent myself after eighth grade. Like, of course, I could have, stuck with being a voice actor solely for my career or, just kind of stayed in that realm of like kids' movies, whatever. Um, but yeah, I really love that part that I can just like kind of shed it whenever I want to because I don't know, that's just my voice and that's not what people know me from now. Um, yeah, but I mean, I'm always so thankful for Despicable Me because it's like I was like 5 years old for the first movie. And to think that that really just like started my career is so cool just to think about. Um, yeah, but I was very embarrassed of it for a long time just because like people thought it was fun to tease me. And they were never ever like mean about it, but you know, over and over again, it gets annoying. But yeah, I mean, I look back now and it's like, what an incredible experience.
And finally, what do you have coming up next?
I have a couple projects, thankfully, which I'm very excited for. I like working. No, so coming out this year in October is they're doing an animated version of the Addams Family, and I'm doing a voice for that, which I'm very excited for. I'm not playing Wednesday, as many people have assumed, but I am playing a character, which is kind of major, so that's fun. And then another project we're trying to get made right now is a musical about this family band who is famous for being terrible. And that's called The Shags, and that I'm very excited about.
All right. Well, thanks, Elsie, very much for chatting, and congratulations on all the awards.
Thank you very much. Yeah.